Go ahead and give me the next bill. Let's finish third reading. Let's go ahead and finish third reading. People can mill around while I do enrolled acts. House Bill 123, third reading of the House bill.
House Bill 123, collection of antler or horns by residents and non-residents, sponsored by Representative Berger, an act relating to game and fish.
And there's an amendment. Could the clerk please read the amendment?
House Bill 123, third reading amendment number 1, page 1, line 1, delete.
Senator Barlow.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I move third reading amendment number 1 to House Bill 123 and ask for any consideration.
It's important to know your audience.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. So, ladies and gentlemen, I guess what I really want to understand is why the necessity to include in this bill and as two subsequent bills from now, shed antlers and horns as public property, as property of the state when they're on public or state lands. Currently in statute, and if you'll go to page 2 of your bill, currently in statute, lines 15 and below on page 2, we already give this agency the authority to regulate this and control the collection of shed antlers and horns. And that's exactly what this bill does, is allow to set seasons. So my question is, and like I said, I'm going to be favorable to the bill in either case, with or without this language, but my amendment would strike the language on the bottom of page 2, the top of page 2, the bottom of page 1, and get rid of this ownership issue regarding a shed antler or horn. I have a really hard time with that, because then I think we're starting to go down a road of, okay, who owns the rest of the carcass when the animal is deceased, etc. So I think the bill is complete without this language. I just need to know a compelling reason why we need to keep it. So any consideration is appreciated. Thank you. Or explanation. Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Discussion. Senator Kolb.
Well, on and against the amendment. The way I was tracking this in, Mr. Chairman, Vice President, is that it gets into the bill title and it strips out the language providing that any shed antlers and horns on public land are the property of the state. And I think that's been in the title, and I'm concerned that if this amendment goes through, it'd be an issue. And so on and against the amendment.
Further discussion. Senator Hicks.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, and I'm a little confused, Mr. Chairman. It looks to me what we need for this is a severability clause. So once it's severed from the animal due to natural dropping, then it's no longer property of the state. And I'm just wondering if that's the good bringer of the amendments trying to do, is establish a severability clause for horns and antlers, Mr. Chairman. But honestly, in all due consideration, I do think that the bringer of the amendment's probably correct. It's already in statute that wildlife belongs to the state. It's also already in statute that says that's on private property. These belong to the private property owner. So I think it's implied that that's already property of the state on public lands.
Further discussion. Senator Rothfuss.
And asking the bringer, would this cover severed clause?
Senator Anderson.
Mr. Vice President, on and for this amendment, this is the problem that my private landowners that I know have with this bill. They think that the Game and Fish will write rules that include private property, and they're adamantly against it. Thank you.
Further discussion. Further discussion. Ready for the question? All those in favor of third reading amendment number 1 to House Bill 123, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That amendment is adopted. We're back on the bill. Ready for the question?
Question.
Senate File 123, having been read 3 separate times, the question is, shall the bill pass? Clerk will call the roll.
Third reading roll call, House Bill 123. Anderson?
Aye.
Aye. Baldwin? Aye. Barlow? Aye. Beitman? No. Boner? Aye. Bouchard? Brennan? Aye. Case? No. Cooper? No. Dockstetter? No. Ellis? No. French? No. Furphy? No. Guru? No. Hicks? Aye. Hutchings? Aye. Ide? No. Jones? Aye. Kinsky?
Aye.
Aye. Cole? Aye. Landon? No. Larson? McEwen? No. Nethercott? Aye. Pappas? No. Rothfuss? Aye. Salazar? No. Schuler? Aye. Scott? Aye. Steinmetz? No. Bouchard? Excused? Larson? Excused?
I guess we'll say excused. I'd like to get those folks rounded up, but let's say excused for now.
Excused. President Driscoll?
Let's round him up. Excused.
Excused.
Excused. Tough talk till you get to the president.
House Bill 123, closing vote. Hutchings, aye to no. Dockstetter, no to aye. Brennan, aye to no. No to aye. Guru. Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. House Bill 123, 14 aye, 14 no, 3 excused.
House Bill 123, having failed to receive the affirmative vote of the majority of the members elected to the Senate, House Bill 123 has failed to pass the Senate. House Bill 183, third reading of the House Bill.
House Bill 185 engrossed. Local government distributions revision, sponsored by the Appropriations Committee, an act relating to local government funding.
And I don't see an amendment. Senator Hicks.
Mr. Vice President, absent any objection, I'd ask that House Bill 185 be laid back for one day.
So ordered. House Bill 276, third reading of the House Bill.
House Bill 276 engrossed. Shed Antlers and Horns Conservation Stamp, sponsored by Representative Wiley, an act relating to game and fish.
We have an amendment. The clerk will read the first amendment.
House Bill 276, third reading amendment number 1 to engrossed copy, line 1, page 1, delete.
Senator Barlow.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I respectfully withdraw third reading amendment number 1.
Okay, that's met with wild applause, it says here. Second amendment to House Bill 276. Clerk will read the amendment.
House Bill 276, third reading amendment number 2 to engrossed copy, page 2, line 23, delete.
Senator Hicks.
Mr. Vice President, I move third reading amendment number 2 to House Bill 276 and ask for your favorable vote on this. Members of the body, this just goes into that section that had the date from May 1st to June 30th is the time frame that you had to require a conservation stamp to be able to collect horns. We struck that out. With the second reading amendment, there was some request from the agency that has to administer this that in some cases they would like a time frame. So what the amendment just says, it says they shall require by rule a requirement for conservation stamp and dates when this requirement shall be applicable. So it gives the department the ability to go ahead and it still will require a conservation stamp. It just provides them the flexibility as to what dates they would like that to have that provision applicable. Stand for any questions.
Discussion. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of the third reading amendment number 2 to House Bill 2276, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. That amendment is adopted. We are back on the bill. Further discussion on the bill? Okay, House Bill 276 having been read 3 separate times. The question is, shall the bill pass? Chief Clerk will call the roll.
House Bill 276, third reading roll call. Anderson? Aye. Baldwin? No. Barlow? Aye. Beitman? No. Boner? Aye. Bouchard excused. Brennan? No. Case? No. Cooper? No. Dockstetter? No. Ellis? Aye. French? No. Furphy? No. Guru? Aye. Hicks?
Aye.
Aye. Hutchings?
Aye.
Aye. Ide? No. Jones? Aye. Kinski?
Aye.
Aye. Kolb? Aye. Landon? No. Larson excused. McEwen? No. Nethercott? Aye. Pappas? Aye. Rothfuss? Aye. Salazar? No. Schuler? Aye. Scott? Aye. Steinmetz? No. President Driscoll excused. Landon, no to aye. Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. House Bill 276, 16 aye, 12 no, 3 excused.
House Bill 276, having received the affirmative vote of the majority of the members elected to the Senate, House Bill 276 has passed the Senate. We are now at that order of business, signing of enrolled acts.
I'll drink it.
Original Senate File 140, Enrolled Act Number 57. Clerk will read it.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 57, being Original Senate File 140, an act relating to public health and safety, providing for the use of alternative refrigerants as specified.
I'm about to sign Enrolled Act Number 57, being Original Senate File 140. I've so signed. Enrolled Act Number 58, Original Senate File 52.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 58, being Original Senate File 52, an act relating to school finance, modifying the distribution of funds for K-12 public schools special education services.
About to sign Enrolled Act Number 58, being Original Senate File Number 52. Enrolled Act 59, Original Senate File 53.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 59, being Original Senate File 53, an act relating to Defense Forces and Affairs, specifying that a Wyoming National Guard member serving in state active duty may be reimbursed as specified for medical insurance premiums.
I'm about to sign Enrolled Act Number 59, being Original Senate File 53. I have so signed. Enrolled Act Number 60, being Original Senate File 56.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 60, being Original Senate File 56, an act relating to game and fish, expanding the prohibition for entering private property without permission for hunting purposes to also prohibit traveling through the private property.
About to sign Enrolled Act Number 60, being Original Senate File Number 56, Enrolled Act 61.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 61, being original Senate File 67, an act relating to motor vehicles, allowing a person with a disability to be issued a special license plate with a disabled designation for a multi-purpose vehicle.
About to sign Enrolled Act Number 61, being original Senate File 67. I've so signed. Enrolled Act 62.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 62, being original Senate File 98, an act relating to education authorizing the award of a certificate of completion for students with disabilities as identified under the Federal Individuals with Disabilities Education Act as specified.
About to sign Enrolled Act Number 62, being original Senate File Number 98. I've so signed. Enrolled Act Number 63.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 63, being original Senate File 113, an act relating to professions and occupations, amending the qualifications of person applying to become a licensed architect or landscape architect.
About to sign Enrolled Act Number 63, being original Senate File 113. I've so signed. Enrolled Act Number 64.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 64, being original Senate File 128, an act relating to state lands removing the requirement that state and federal lands be equal in size when exchanged by the state and the federal government.
About to sign Enrolled Act Number 64, being original Senate File Number 128. I've so signed. Enrolled Act Number 65.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 65, being original Senate File 157, an act relating to weed and pest control, clarifying that the Eastern Shoshone and Northern Arapaho tribes may apply for participation in specified emergency insect management programs.
About to sign Enrolled Act Number 65, being original Senate File 157. I have so signed. Enrolled Act Number 66.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 66, being original Senate File 123, an act relating to education allowing children of active duty military members to transfer to any public school within a school district as specified.
About to sign Enrolled Act Number 66, being original Senate File Number 123. I have so signed. Enrolled Act Number 67.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 67, being original Senate File 32, an act relating to crimes and offenses prohibiting the use of unmanned aircraft systems as specified.
About to sign Enrolled Act Number 67, being original Senate File Number 32. I've so signed. Enrolled Act 188.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 65, being original House Bill Enrolled Act Number 65, being original House Bill 188, an act relating to agriculture, recreating a gray wolf depredation compensation program.
I'm about to sign Enrolled Act Number 65, being original House Bill Number 188. I've so signed. Enrolled Act 66.
House Enrolled Act Number 66, being original House Bill 108, an act relating to children prohibiting the sale of edible products and vaping products containing tetrahydrocannabinol to persons under 18 years of age.
About to sign Enrolled Act Number 66, being original House Bill 108. I've so signed. That order of business messages from the House.
From the House of Representatives, February 24, 2023. Message number 434. Mr. Vice President, the following bills passed the House on third reading by the votes indicated. Senate File Number 52, School Finance Special Education Funding, ayes 62. Message number 435. Senate File 53, Wyoming National Guard Medical Insurance Premiums, ayes 47, noes 15. Message number 436, Senate File 56, Prohibiting Travel Across Private Land for Hunting Purposes, ayes 54, noes 8. Message number 437, Senate File 67, Multipurpose Vehicles Disabled License Plates, ayes 55, noes 7. Message number 438, Senate File 98, Education Certificate of Completion, ayes 62. Message number 439, Senate File 113, Architects Practice Act Amendments, ayes 55, noes 7. Message number 440, Senate File number 128, Transfer of State Lands Exchange, ayes 62. Message number 442, Senate File 157, Weed and Pest Mitigation, Tribal Inclusion 2, ayes 62. Message number 446, Senate File 140, Building Code Requirements, Refrigerants, ayes 53, noes 9. Signed, Katie Talbot, House Chief Clerk.
Do we have any reports? No reports. Mr. Majority Floor Leader, we are at that order of business, consideration of bills on general file.
Mr. Vice President, I move the Senate resolve itself into committee of the whole.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Senator Barlow, bring us home.
Hang 'em high.
The Senate will please come to order. If we need any incentive on a Friday afternoon, the House has provided it to us. So the faster we go, the more we get. The first bill for our consideration is House Bill 74.
House Bill 74 engrossed, Wyoming Outdoor Recreation Trust Fund, sponsored by the Travel Committee, an act relating to state lands. It was referred to Committee Number 6, which returned a committee recommendation that it do pass. Amended, ayes Senators Baldwin, Ellis, Garou, Jones, and Schuler. Senator Schuler, Chairman. Was re-referred to Committee Number 2, which returned a committee recommendation that it do pass. Ayes Senators Anderson, Garou, and Nethercott. Excused Senators Kinski and Salazar. Senator Kinski, Chairman.
You've heard the reading of the bill. What is your pleasure? Senator Schuler. Oh, my apologies.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that when the committee of the whole rises to report it, do so with the recommendation, can't talk, that House Bill 74 do pass. There is a standing committee amendment. If you could read that in, please.
House Bill 74, Standing Committee Amendment Number 1 to engrossed copy, page 7 after line 23, insert.
And with that, I would call on the good senator from Teton County, Senator Garou, to explain the bill and the amendment.
Senator Garou, please proceed. I apologize. We don't have this problem in the House because we only give them 4 microphones.
As I remember well, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I'm going to try to do this quickly. I bring you House Bill 74 from the Joint Travel, Recreational, Wildlife, Cultural Resources Interim Committee, the Wyoming Outdoor Recreation Trust Fund. Mr. Chairman, members, this is the main topic of your TRW committee this last interim, to try to create a trust fund to help with what is now becoming one of our larger industries, and that is outdoor recreation. As you saw in the ARPA bill before, that there was some significant funds that were allocated to this. And what this bill is attempting to do is to set up a trust fund so we can fund projects and take advantage of these opportunities as they come up as defined by our Parks Department, our Tourism Department, and our communities across the state. This bill went through, like I say, quite a process with a large number of stakeholders working very diligently. It started with a $50 million appropriation from the general fund, and then was pared down through the committee work to a $6 million appropriation from the tourism reserve account, not the regular account there, but the reserve account. As you know, a couple of years ago, we passed a lodging tax. That's funded the Department of Tourism. They're starting now to get an average, getting comfortable with the average amount of receipts that are coming in to run the department. Money is starting to be designated for a account, for reserve account, for just this type of thing, and this was the first big ask from that account. So it passed through committee, and it passed through the other body, which made some changes, and I know there's a standing committee amendment. Has it been read in? So I wanted to, before I get to that, I wanted to kind of let you know where we were. As this bill worked through our committee and then came to the floor, some questions came up. And questions came up from our good majority floor leader, who has a lot more experience in setting up these with the Natural Resource Trust Fund and with water funds, about some ideas that he had that really would help this bill. And so what we did was we got together this morning. As we know, time is getting short. This morning we had a meeting of all the stakeholders, both House and Senate chairmen of this committee, the folks that were involved, whether it be the pathways folks from the Parks Department, the Tourism Department, from the executive down on the first floor. Folks came together, and what we're asking for today is that we pass this bill, and that we're going to bring some amendments in second reading that are going to put a lot more structure to this trust fund account, that are going to put together some rules and some real sideboards that you see in the Natural Resource Trust account, the large process account, in a way that will re-enter or reinsert the legislature into the process of putting together these funds, not like you wouldn't see in an omnibus water bill or from a select committee on natural resource projects. So with that, I at this time would like to move the standing committee amendment and ask for your favorable considerations. And it has been read in.
Please proceed.
Yes, so standing committee amendment number 1, as you can see on page 7 after line 23, we're going to add the words "establish criteria, require applicants to consult with Wyoming Game and Fish Department," and then also to do some numbering changes. Then on page 8, line 10, add "other interested state and federal," after agencies, insert "tribal governments," and ask for your favorable consideration of the amendment.
Any discussion on the Standing Committee Amendment Number 1, House Bill 74? Any discussion on the Standing Committee Amendment? Seeing none, we are voting on Standing Committee Amendment Number 1, House Bill 74. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The amendment is adopted. Please continue, Senator Grew.
So, Mr. Chairman, thank you for that, passing that. And what we're going to do now is, like I say, I'm going to ask the body to try and take a little bit of a leap of faith on this. This has been a bill that we've worked on, but here we've come together kind of at the last minute, I'll grant you, but with a sincere coming together of the stakeholders involved to try to give you, the Senate, an amendment on second reading that I think is going to pull this together and really put it on a good footing. And with that, I'd ask for your favorable consideration on first reading of House Bill 74.
Any discussion on House Bill 74? Any discussion? Senator Schuler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to reiterate the good senator from Teton County, one of the, I think the Tourism Board did a poll earlier before we actually started studying this during the interim, and really the number one thing that people want to see when they come is they want to see our wildlife, and they want to be able to enjoy our trails and our outdoors and hike. And so what this bill does is it gives us an opportunity to build into those kinds of things. And not only that, I think that if you think about our young people, we always talk about we want our young people to come back or to stay here and enjoy, what we have. And I think if you talk to most of them, amenities are what they want. They want bike trails, hiking trails. They want to be able to, this baby could even actually help out with things like a shooting complex and a variety of different issues. Again, the sideboards, we can put more of those on. I think we can make this eventually look a little bit like the Wildlife Trust Fund and maybe even the Cultural Arts Fund to some degree. We want to try and make the sideboards so that there's oversight, there's legislative oversight, and then we make sure that we're doing it right. So again, if you just want to vote for a good bill, this is the one, and I hope you do. Thank you.
Further discussion on House Bill 74? Further discussion? Further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of Senator Schuler's, my apologies. Senator Cole.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I look forward to some sideboards being on this. I mean, it sounds like it's everything for everybody and that anyone could want at any time. Well, that's just, that's just not enough for me. I can get there if we put some sideboards and specify what the purpose is going to be for and, rein this in a little bit. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other members to House Bill 74? Senator Case.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Well, I'm a little bit hesitant in a couple areas, and I'll tell you why. One is that our travel and tourism industry is a mighty industry in the state. It has varying impacts around the state, but if you were to pick the industry that has the most number of people who live in their cars in the summertime and aren't covered by health insurance, you'd nail in on this industry. And it's an industry where we take a lot of taxes from people and we use it to promote more people to come to Wyoming. And it's hard on the resources. Have you been in the mountains lately? And, I used to be able to go up over on the other side of the Wind Rivers and you could get a spot in a parking lot. And now it's really different. You're parking a mile down the highway to get in a hike, and it's like a freeway going in. Our restaurants and our hotels, people work hard, but they're not the best paying jobs. They don't have benefits. I'd really like to see us maybe take some of the money we collect in taxes off of tourism and use it to provide health care for the people that work in the industry. And I've got another concern, and it's about our Division of State Parks and Natural Resources and how they have taken on the promote tourism aspect and commercialize some of our parks. The one close to Lander called Sinks Canyon, Mr. Chairman, is a very special place. They have a policy of development there and a process for planning that was out of sync with the wishes of the community. And I can't get anybody to really think about this and address it. But I'm telling you, Mr. Chairman, this is not all rosy. And we need some we could be spending some money on the workers in this industry, thinking better about planning and better providing for development for the visitors. And Mr. Chairman, also protecting our natural resources better. I think I might be a no.
Thank you, Senator Case. Senator Beitman.
Dramatic long pause there. Sorry, I was waiting for my microphone. Not to pile on or anything, but this is a $50 million hit to the general fund, if I'm reading this fiscal note properly. Am I not? Somebody tell me about this fiscal note, please. Because it says general fund estimated increase, decrease, and it's got 30,900,000, then 19,100,000. Can we talk about the fiscal note, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Beitman. Senator Hicks.
Just a little bit about the fiscal note. That's in the version that was introduced. That's the Noftian gross version. There's not 50 million in general fund now there. What the House appropriation and what the House, our colleagues down there did, they've diverted part of the tourism reserve account, about $6 million, to seed the corpus of this outdoor recreation trust fund. So the fiscal note's not correct. The source of the money's not correct. It is $6 million, but it's coming out of special revenues for the tourism reserve account. So I hope that helps my colleague.
Thank you, Senator Hicks. Senator Brightman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It does help. So it's the trust fund bait and switch. So next year we'll be getting the general fund appropriation after the trust fund set up like we've been doing in the past. So I just don't think this is the right way to be doing this kind of stuff. If we're going to be fully funding these things the year following with the setup, like we did with Wyoming's Tomorrow, like we've done with all these other trust funds, bite the bullet and put it all in at once, and let's vote on it as a package, not this set it up one year, take the money out, and then the next year come back and put all the money in. I'll be against this one.
Thank you. Any further discussion on House Bill 74? Senator Landon?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Just to reiterate, when this bill came out of the committee, there was just really a page holder when we established whatever amount that we would suggest and bring to the session. Someday, as a dream, I think it would be terrific if we could ever get 50 million in a fund like this. I spent the past interim on the Travel, Recreation, and Wildlife Committee, and what an enjoyable experience and one of the most educational years I've ever spent in the legislature, Mr. Chairman. It was really eye-opening as to what's going on out across our state. Up in the country where the Fremont senator just talked about, the impact is dramatic. It's dramatic in all the state parks, all the way down to just being able to create a better parking place or a better parking lot, or perhaps a place you can plug something in, or there's so many demands going on based on this influx of people. And the senator's right. We've got to use some of these funds someday, or other funds, to take care of the environment, to take care of those places, because that impact, tears things down. So I'm excited. I just wanted to rise primarily, though, Mr. Chairman, to thank the committees and to thank the leadership for bringing this out as a policy discussion. We know this impact is going to continue to just grow and grow as we go along. The nice part about these trust funds is that you can go get them if you have to, but it's a place that we know we're going to have the impact, Mr. Chairman. I'm excited about the bill. I think it's got great potential. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Landon. Senator Rothfuss.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, on for the bill. This is one of those areas, at least in my community and in my district, where you effectively have everyone supportive of projects, outdoor recreation projects. And it's really a pleasure to deal with these types of projects. We had an incredibly successful one that we spent now 3+ years, 4 years, trying to work to build a system up Pilot Hill that would allow for recreational trail use, but also allow for conservation and wildlife protection. It was an incredible project, but it's the type of project that really brought the community together. Everyone is supportive, wins across the board, so good for our environment, so good for recreation, so good for our economy. So when done right, there's a lot of potential and a lot of opportunity to projects like the ones that this could potentially fund. If there's need for sideboards, if there's need for guidance, I certainly understand that. But the idea of setting aside some funds that we currently have available to generate revenue, to help enable outdoor recreation in our communities and throughout the state, whether that's for economic development or honestly just for improving the quality of life of the citizens that we have in place right now, is going to be win after win, I think, for the people and the people of the state. So I think it's an idea that's long overdue for us to actually support local outdoor recreation in whatever capacity communities decide to apply for. And that then, Mr. Chairman, is I think going to be at the heart of how this operates, hopefully, is really through those local applications where you have ideas that are organically grown in the communities that are then put to the board in hopefully a competitive process where they're reviewed and evaluated and again, reviewed and evaluated both on the outdoor recreation potential as well as the wildlife and environmental impacts and implications. the tourism implications and everything else. So this is a great start. I do think this is the right process, honestly, of starting it, building it up over time, and continuing to invest in it over time with future funds. So I appreciate the work that's been done on this, and I hope the body will support it as I will.
Thank you. Any other members? Senator French?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I don't know which way I'm going to go on this. There's good points to it, bad points to it. What I don't understand is here we want different funds and different, we advertise, come to Wyoming, come to Wyoming. Well, they're coming. And in my part of the world, up there in Park County, our property taxes have gone up 25 to 30%. They're going up another 25% this year, I'm told. And we're shocked that these people that we say, come, actually decide to stay and build a house. And then they invite their family and friends, and suddenly, in my area, the price of a house has doubled in like 2 years' time. So the people that have been there a while, senior citizens, young people, they're having to make some terrible choices. Leave our community, go somewhere else where maybe it's affordable, drive 100 miles to go to work. You know, so that part I just don't get. You know, that begging people to come. And when they do, we're like, oh my God, I can't believe they came and stayed. So just a commentary.
Thank you for the commentary, Senator French. Senator Landon.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Really appreciate my good friend from Park County. That was good. I've got a group in my neck of the woods, quite a group of sportsmen, Mr. Chairman, and they are avid walleye fishermen. And boy, are they good at it too. And every now and then they go up to the center part of the state, up to the Fremont County country, and they ask me repeatedly, almost every year I come home and they say, well, when are you going to do something about that state park? You know, we can go to another state and they've got cleaning stations and they've got places we can plug something in, and I have to look at them and say, well, you know, it's a money thing. It's tough to get our arms around, you know, all the work that we know that we could and should be getting done. So that's the piece of it, Mr. Chairman. I didn't want to lose sight of the fact that this is really about our people. We're the ones that live here, and for some of those months out of the year, yeah, we do get a lot of visitors, and it's very impactful. But all the rest of that time, it's about our constituents and their parks and their resources, and maybe this will give us a little bit extra that we can help them out. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other member wish to speak to House Senator Garou?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Just want to make sure we reiterated general fund off that fiscal note. I do apologize. We've been kind of having this problem during these, as these bills come across, that the fiscal note was written for the bill that was introduced, and then as it changed, the fiscal note just doesn't keep up with it. So once again, $6 million from the tourism account, from its reserve account, no general fund dollars. The other part about this, I want to talk about, you know, yes, I'm asking you to bet on the come a little bit and vote for a first reading and waiting for a second reading amendment. But one of the things that we've talked about, I think is going to allay a lot of the fears. Put together a framework so you can see how this is going to work, how this can work. And to my good friend from the Wind River country, your questions and what happened in your area is exactly what these sideboards are meant to talk about. We talked a lot in committee about having a public process, a public meeting process in the communities where any proposal comes. And so to try, and in my mind, when I was talking about it, I was thinking about some of the challenges that we faced with Sings Canyon. And so in addition to that, I understand the comments too. Believe me, where I come from, it is a daily struggle. But I can tell you that when we talk about tourism, when we talk about an emerging industry, our second largest industry, it's bills like this, it's a trust fund like this that will enable that will enable us to have what a former chief executive used to always say, growth on our terms. To be able to look at this on a case-by-case basis as these projects come in and have a full vetting, have a vote here from this body about projects like we do with select water and omnibus water bills, or like natural resource funding projects. So we can look at them, we can see them, and we can evaluate them one by one. That's what this Outdoor Recreation Trust Fund bill is looking to do, and I'm asking for your aye vote. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other members? Any other members? Seeing none. All those in favor of Senator Schuler's motion, when the committee of the whole rises to report, it do so with the favorable recommendation of House Bill 74, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no? No. Chair is in doubt. All those in favor, please rise. Those opposed? Thank you. House Bill 74 has passed committee of the whole 15-10. Mr. President. Please proceed, Mr. President.
I forgot the most important thing of the day this morning. We got busy doing all our stuff. Ava's been here for a couple weeks and done a whole bunch of great things for us, folks. I'm going to read a resolution. I've got this for you. Thank you. So 67th Legislature, State of Wyoming recognizes Ava Sutton. Resolution of the undersigned members of the 67th Legislature of the State of Wyoming recognizing Ava Sutton for her commitment and leadership in academics, the arts, athletics, service, and statesmanship. Whereas Ms. Sutton, an esteemed resident of Cheyenne and an exemplary senior at East High School, has excelled in academics and student leadership, serving as Student Council Vice President and Secretary. And whereas Ms. Sutton has distinguished herself as a cheerleader and dancer for the Cheyenne East High School, earning a place in the 2023 state cheer competition, and has performed condemnably in choir, gaining entrance to the East Advanced Vocal Group, All Northwest Choir, All State Choir, and All State Jazz Choir during her high school tenure. And whereas Ms. Sutton proudly demonstrated her commitment to public service and altruism by serving 12 years as a Girl Scout troop member and fostering animals with the Cheyenne Animal Shelter. And whereas Ms. Sutton engaged in civics and government with a clarity through her participation in We the People, her senior year of high school, her attendance of Girls State, her junior year of high school, and by serving as a page for the Wyoming Senate during the 2023 general session. And whereas Ms. Sutton is tenaciously pursuing the noble achievement of a Congressional Award Medal and intends to study English education at McPherson College in McPherson, Kansas next fall. Whereas the success of the state of Wyoming, the strength of our communities, and the future of our country depend on the dedication of young people like Ms. Sutton, who devote their time, skills, and talent for the betterment of communities, our state, and our world. Now therefore be it resolved by the undersigned members of the 67th Legislature of the state of Wyoming that on behalf of the state of Wyoming, we hereby congratulate and honor Ms. Sutton for her laudable record of community service, athletics, leadership, and academic achievement, and extend best wishes for future happiness and success. Huge thanks. You came to the right chamber. You came to the good one. You did a great job. Thank you much. Please join me in welcoming you. We're ready for the speech.
Ms. Sutton, would you like a privilege of the floor?
Yes, please.
Please proceed.
Okay, let me pull it up. I have it typed out. Okay. I just want to start off by saying what an amazing and educational experience this has been for me. I can truly say that I have learned more about the policymaking process in our terrific Wyoming legislature in the past couple weeks than I would have ever learned sitting in a classroom for a year. It is truthfully an honor to be sitting in the same room with such intelligent and well-rounded individuals. And I would like to thank all of you for this fantastic opportunity. I am pleased to say Wyoming has strong and powerful senators that strive to listen and speak for the people. Personally, I have taken in every word that has been spoken, every question that has been asked, and every lesson that has been taught. By being present and open-minded, I have been able to create my own opinions and decide where I stand politically, which I thought would be a very tough decision for me to make. This room has many powerful and outstanding people in it, but I would like to take some time to address the women senators. Personally, I am very inspired and empowered by you women. Wednesday night, I was fortunate and got to attend the gala Leap into Leadership. There, I listened and spoke to 3 women that seemed to be legends within the Wyoming legislature. I left feeling encouraged and motivated to be a role model for young girls and women just as they are. With that being said, thank you to you 7 women senators for being inspirational and encouraging to young women like me, and keep being the role models you are. The legislature needs more women, and I don't think I'm the first, and I definitely won't be the last person to say that. I would like to thank a few more people before I finish. Sue, Cindy, Linda, Jackie, Ellen, Dawn, Beth, and Marty. These women have been extremely helpful the last 2 weeks. They have taught me the behind the scenes of the Senate, answered any questions that I've had, and have taught me a lot about life and how to enjoy it. They are all great women, and I am so grateful to have many conversations with them this week. Once again, a huge thank you to everyone for this opportunity. The state of Wyoming is in great hands. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ava, but your day's not over, and neither is ours. All right. Next bill for our consideration is House Bill 152. Reading clerk.
House Bill 152, Life is a Human Right Act, sponsored by Representative Rodriguez-Williams, an act relating to abortion. Was referred to Committee Number 5, which returned to committee recommendation that it do pass amended. Ayes, Senators French, Hicks, Ide, Kolb, and Steinmetz. Senator Steinmetz, Chairman.
So I have 2 senators signed, but we've just read in a bill, so I'm going to go to the chairman first, and if there's something else that needs to be done, we'll do that. Unless is it a personal privilege? Great. Senator Steinmetz, you've heard the reading of the bill. What is your pleasure?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that when the Committee of the Whole rises to report, it do so with the recommendation that House Bill 152 do pass. And I will explain the bill and the amendment, so if I could have the amendment read in at this time.
House Bill 152, Standing Committee Amendment Number 1 to engrossed copy, page 2, lines 13 through 15, delete.
Mr. Chairman, I would move Standing Committee Amendment Number 1 to House Bill 152 and ask for the body's favorable consideration. And I will explain the amendment and the bill unless
Senator Anderson, do you have something you wish to?
Mr. Chairman, in consideration of the people that have a long time to travel, I was going to lay this bill back till Monday, please.
So there's a request to lay back the bill without objection. Without objection, the bill is laid back 1 day.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, and so the body, I think I gave people the opportunity to object. And if there's a disagreement with the ruling, it can go that way. But I think there was a request to lay it back. I asked for objections, and no one spoke for his objection. So House Bill 152 is laid back 1 day.
Sorry, I should have laid it back before you spoke.
The next bill for our consideration is House Bill 270. Reading clerk, please read in the bill.
Lay it back.
House Bill 270, House Bill 270 engrossed. Improvement and Service Districts Limitations, sponsored by Representative Northrup, an act relating to improvement and service districts. It was referred to Committee Number 7, which returned a committee recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Senators Case, Landon, and Scott. No, Senators Barlow and DeBoner. Senator Case, Chairman.
You've heard the reading of the bill. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I would move, or I would ask to lay that bill back also till Monday.
With that, there's a request to lay the 270 back without objection. Senator Hicks. Sorry.
Mr.
My
Chairman,
apologies.
I object to laying this bill back. I think we can deal with this bill in a fairly short amount of time. We can get through this. We've got a lot of work to do come Monday is the last reading. And the more you pile that up, you might be here till 7 o'clock at night. We've got a couple of big bills that we've got to do. We've got Monday to get some of this stuff processed. So I would prefer that we deal with 270, and then that's the last bill we're going to do. We're going to adjourn for the day. So my objection would be to
So there is
work this bill.
There is objection, unless we go further, if someone wants a vote or anything else, we're going to continue with the House Bill 270. House Bill 270, you've heard the reading of the bill. What is your pleasure? Chairman Case. Please proceed, Chairman Case.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I move that when the Committee of the Whole rises to report it, do so with a do pass recommendation on House Bill 270, Improvement and Service District Limitations, and to carry us home on this bill, literally carry us home, I think, I would ask to yield to the good Senator Landon.
Senator Landon, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And fellow students, welcome back. As we enter this fall semester, it's good to see all of you who have been in Government 101 classes with me before.
Sorry, my apologies. Hit the wrong button. I was turning off another senator. Case.
Thank you. So, Mr. Chairman, what this is all about is the opportunity. I think after we get done visiting about this bill, you'll be a step closer to a master's degree in political economics. This is about service improvement districts, and that'll be the topic of conversation real quickly before we head to the cars and go home for the weekend. House Bill 270 might be familiar because and it should, because it's been here before. And this is a bill that has passed out of the Senate. It comes back. I think it's been improved a little bit along the way. It's about limited and transparent government. This bill is about these service improvement districts and their founding petitions, Mr. Chairman. Should a district desire to change or expand their responsibilities or authorities, the voters of the district will have to approve it in an election. If there's been a limit of taxes imposed in those founding documents, all this bill says is that the district should abide by that. And if they choose not to abide by that, they have to go back to the voters to get that approval. I hope that makes sense. I'll walk you into the bill real quickly, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 270, you'll notice on page 2, this shall not impose any fee, charge, mill levy that exceeds any limit stated in the district's original petition. Any limitation shall be calculated as a dollar amount. That's a paragraph we may want to look at in second reading. Subparagraph II shall apply to all local improvement districts. Just to expedite, fellow senators, this is all about bringing it back to the voters if a service district gets outside the bounds of its original petition. If it's a service district, for example, that is set up to take care of roads and fences, and suddenly they start issuing building permits, then maybe they ought to go back to the voters and get that approval. I will submit to you that we had a good conversation in the Corporations Committee. It was not unanimous. This is a bill that really gets to the heart of the matter. When you hand the keys over to a special district like this, and you ask them to keep it in the city limits, is it okay if they get out there on the highway and start drag racing with the guys from the next community? It's a good consideration for us, Mr. Chairman. I hope you'll support it. It's a bill that should move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion on Senator Scott on the bill?
Mr. Chairman, on the bill, I was one of the 3 aye votes in committee on this bill. And I did so because I think we do need to have something like this that does have a mechanism for going back to the voters when the district goes further than what was originally intended. But Mr. Chairman, it turns out a number of these districts are quite old. They've been outside those bounds for some time. The bounds no longer made sense, the ones that came in to start with. And I think that the specifics of what the bill is likely to do in the next few years are probably not justified. And frankly, I was mentally flipping a nickel when we were taking the roll call down in committee, and I think I made a mistake on this one. I think it is probably not yet quite ready for prime time. I think we need to think pretty hard about how do we implement it, how do we deal with the districts that have been out of bounds for some time with the consent, although not explicit, with the consent of the people that are being served by them. I think this one smells a little too much of the lost to court case and they appealed that back to the legislature, and that's not good practice. Mr. Chairman, I have trouble with this bill because I think its general principle is good, and I think its specific application has problems, Mr. Chairman. So I'm going to rise and oppose the bill at this point.
Thank you, Senator Scott. Any other further discussion on House Bill 270? There is a committee of the whole amendment, but the sponsor is not on the floor at this moment. So, all right, Senator Landon, and then we'll maybe go to the standing committee of the whole amendment. Senator Landon.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I was actually going to rise and move the committee of the whole amendment, or ask that it be read in.
House Bill 270, Committee of the Whole Amendment Number 1 to engrossed copy, page 2, line 6, delete.
Thank you, Senator Landon. I think that Senator Kinski was ready to take up that committee of the whole amendment, if that's appropriate, or if you would like to.
I'll move the amendment, and then I would
Please do so.
to the good senator. Thank you.
So the amendment, committee of the whole amendment number 1 has been moved. House Bill 270. Senator Kinski.
Mr. Chairman, on behalf of Senator Dockstetter, he asked that I withdraw this amendment. He'll bring it back on second.
Thank you for withdrawing the amendment. Further discussion on House Bill 270. Further discussion? Senator Landon.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. And I just wanted to rise after the comments from my friend from Natrona County. There's no question that this is a difficult policy discussion, but my vote actually, I think, is going to stay where it always has been, and that is, if we've got a special district out there and they're stepping out of line far enough, I don't see any problem with asking that district to come back to the voters that created that special district in the first place. And it's just a matter of what you want to do in terms of sideboards. Is it going to be onerous? I don't think so. I don't think there are very many special districts that will have this problem. But if they do get out over the tips of their skis, Mr. Chairman, it just feels right to me that there's some recourse for the taxpayer. And that just simply means, hey, if a special district wants to get into doing some things that are not in the original petition, it's pretty reasonable to say, you know, let's go back to the voters and just get the approval. And that's what this bill does. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Further discussion on House Bill 270? Further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of Chairman Case's motion, when the committee of the whole rises to report, it do so with a favorable recommendation of House Bill 270. Please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. No. The chair is not in doubt. All those in favor, please rise. Thank you. All those opposed? Thank you. You may be seated. The vote, ayes 9, noes 16. Pursuant to Senate Rule 6-5, having failed a standing division vote, a roll call vote is required. Chief Clerk, please call the roll on House Bill 270.
House Bill 270, roll call. Anderson? Aye. Baldwin? Barlow? No. Beitman? No. Boner? No. Bouchard? Aye. Brennan? No. Case? Aye. Cooper? Aye. Dockstetter? No. Ellis? French? No. Furphy? No. Guru? No. Hicks? No. Hutchings? Aye. Ide? Aye. Jones? Kinsky? No. Cole? No. Landon? Aye. McEwen? Oh, excuse me, Larson? No. McEwen? No. Nethercott? Aye. Pappas? Aye. Rothfuss? Aye. Salazar? No. Schuler? Scott? No. Steinmetz? No. Baldwin excused? Jones? Excused? And Schuler? Excused. Closing vote? Closing. Vote closed. House Bill 270, 10 aye, 16 no, 5 excused.
House Bill 270, having failed roll call vote pursuant to Senate Rule 65A, is deemed indefinitely postponed. Mr. Majority Floor Leader, that clears the desk. Can't read.
You can before the committee, the whole report is read, yes.
So I'll recognize Senator Dockstetter as a point of order in the manner of what he would like to bring forth to the body.
We're going to do this back when the president's in the chair, reconsideration on 123. Thank you.
So that was. Colleagues, I think what we're talking about is a reconsideration of a bill that was done on third reading today. So I think we will wait. I will not accept that motion at this time, or that, it was an announcement, let's say. There'll be a motion need to be made when we're outside of committee of the whole. So my apologies. Mr. Majority Floor Leader. Oh, my apologies.
It's hard to train an ex-House member.
Yes, sir, it is.
Chairman.
Please
It's just-
proceed without your mic.
Yeah. I was thinking the mic and some swips and the spurs and maybe a hot shot. But, Mr. Chairman, I move the Committee of the Whole Rising report.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor, please say aye. Friday afternoon, and it's all we can muster. All those opposed, say no. Mr. President, or Mr. Vice President, whoever's coming up. Motion carries.
You didn't want to lay it back, Anderson? So, don't forget candy bar. Reading clerk, read the committee of the whole report, please.
Mr. President, your committee of the whole, having had under considerations bills on general file, begs leave to report as follows. House Bill 74 engrossed, do pass amended. House Bill 152 engrossed, laid back. House Bill 270 engrossed, failed to pass committee of the whole and was indefinitely postponed. Senator Barlow, chairman.
Senator Barlow. Mr. President, I move the adoption of the committee of the whole report.
You've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Report has been adopted. Senator Dockstader, the bill has left the Senate. We're out. The bill has already left the Senate.
We can vote 2/3 to recall
it. Senator Barlow.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I think the rule would be that we can vote by 2/3 to recall it, ask our House colleagues and
Yes,
recall it from
we
their
can do
presence.
that.
So I would move that we vote, I've moved that we ask for a recall from the House on House Bill 123. Thank you, Mr. President.
Done. That'll be a roll call vote. It takes 2/3. Senator Kinski.
Just point of order, I'm trying to get myself oriented here. On third, 123 failed, I believe, right?
Correct.
Okay, so now it's a 2/3 vote to see if we can call it back to then reconsider it.
Correct.
So the effect of a no vote is leave it dead.
It's
The
dead.
effect of a
No
yes
vote.
vote is bring it back, give us another chance.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you for the clarification. Senator Scott.
Inquiry, does that take 2/3 vote of the members voting or 2/3 vote of the members elected?
Elected. Elected. Any of our 2/3 vote are elected members. What's that? Yeah, we need to do a call and get everybody on the floor. Senator Case.
Just a point of order. I don't think there's a time limit on this recall.
I believe you're correct, sir. We could wait till Monday and do
And
it.
if we did wait till Monday, we might have better success of having more members present. But I leave that to the maker of the motion.
Senator Barlow.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I would ask that, I would give notice to, I would rescind my motion and we will take it up on Monday.
Very good. Thank you. I think it's a good call, Senator Case. Thank you. Mr. Majority Floor Leader, that clears the debt. Whoop. No, it doesn't. All right. What do we got? Oh, signing of enrolled acts. I knew you guys were excited to hear this.
Smoke them if you got them.
Okay, messages.
From the House of Representatives, February 24, 2023, message number 448. Mr. President, the House adopted Joint Conference Committee Number 1 report on House Bill 9, Juvenile Courts Concurrent Jurisdiction Clarification. Ayes 58, noes 2, excused 2. Signed, Katie Talbot, House Chief Clerk.
Thank you. Signing of enrolled acts. Enrolled Act 67, House Enrolled Act 67, original bill, House Bill 199.
House Enrolled Act Number 67 being original House Bill 199, an act relating to motor vehicles providing for a decal designated breast cancer awareness to attach to a license plate.
I'm about to sign House Enrolled Act 67, originally being House Bill 199. I have so signed. House Enrolled Act Number 68, originally being House Bill 140.
House Enrolled Act Number 68 being original House Bill 140, an act relating to health insurance specifying reimbursement requirements for mental health and substance use disorder benefits as specified.
I'm about to sign House Enrolled Act Number 68, originally being House Bill 140. I have so signed. House Enrolled Act Number 69, originally House Bill 128.
House Enrolled Act Number 69 being original House Bill 128, an act relating to crimes and offenses specifying that the offense of voyeurism may be committed by looking within an area where the person being viewed has a reasonable expectation of privacy.
I'm about to sign House Enrolled Act Number 69, originally being House Bill 128. I have so signed. Senator Nethercott, are you ready on Joint Conference Committee report on House Bill 9, referencing message 298?
Yes, Mr. President, I move for adoption of the Joint Conference Committee report referencing Senate Message Number 298 concerning House Bill 9 and ask for your favorable consideration. Good senators, we reached a conclusion where we adopted the House's position. I think it improved the bill and all is right with the world, and ask for your favorable consideration concerning juvenile courts concurrent jurisdiction clarification.
Discussion. Motion is that the Senate do adopt Joint Conference Committee Report Number 1, referencing House Bill 9, Message 298, and vote aye. The Chief Clerk will call the roll.
Joint Conference Committee Report Number 1, referencing House Bill 9. Roll call. Anderson?
Excused.
Baldwin? Excuse. Barlow?
Aye.
Aye. Beitman? Aye. Boner? Aye. Bouchard? Aye. Brennan? Aye. Case? Excused. Cooper? Aye. Dockstetter? Aye. Ellis? Aye. French? Aye. Furphy? Aye. Garoop? Aye. Hicks?
Hicks.
Aye. Hutchings? Aye. Ide? Aye. Jones? Aye. Kinski? Aye. Culp? Aye. Landon? Aye. Larson? Aye. McEwen? Aye. Nethercott?
Aye.
Aye. Pappas? Aye. Rothfuss? Aye. Salazar? Aye. Schuler? Excused. Scott? Aye. Steinmetz? Aye. President Driscoll?
Aye.
Aye. Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. Conference Committee Report Number 1 on House Bill 9, 27 aye, 4 excused.
By your vote, you adopted Joint Conference Committee Number 1 report referencing House Bill 9. Mr. Majority Floor Leader, that clears the desk.
Mr. President, I move the Senate stand adjourned until 10 a.m. Monday, February 27th.
Announcements. Senator Boner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your Joint Transportation Highways Military Affairs Committee will meet Monday, February 27th upon noon recess in Capitol Extension Room W6 to consider interim topics as well as hear an update on the Cowboy Challenge program.
Senator Scott.
Mr. President, your Committee Number 4, Education, will meet 8 a.m. Monday morning. Confirmation hearing for governor appointees David Fall, Kermit Brown, Laura Schmidt-Pazazzo, and Jim Mathis to the University of Wyoming Board of Trustees. And we'll have to do those via Zoom, and I think the LSO may move us to a different meeting room rather than our regular one because of the Zoom facilities, but I'm not sure about that, Mr. Chairman, so I ask members to pay attention because I'm not sure where we're going to be.
Thank you, Senator Scott. Senator Landon.
Mr. President, your Judiciary Committee, a reminder about Monday morning at 8 o'clock. We will be meeting with counterparts down the hall to discuss interim topics. That's in Capitol Extension Room 5. Again, 8 o'clock for your Judiciary Committee.
Senator Steinmetz.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your Committee Number 5, Agriculture, State and Public Lands and Water Resources, will meet Monday, February 22nd upon noon recess in Capitol Extension Room 2 and online to consider interim topics.
Senator Dockstader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Committee Number 9, Minerals, be meeting Tuesday, February 28th, 8 a.m., State Capitol Room W113
meeting with our colleagues from across the other side of the building to discuss interim topics. Thank you, Mr. President.
Chairman Kinski.
Mr. President, your committee number 2 appropriations will meet in E301 at noon on Monday to consider any re-referrals.
Mayor Baldwin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm out of breath, I'm sorry. Start off final week of our journey here. Your committee number 10, Labor, Health, and Social Services, will meet at 8 a.m., room 6, extension, with our whole cohorts from down the hall to talk about interim topics.
Senator Schuler.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Committee Number 6, Joint Travel, Recreation, Wildlife, and Cultural Resources will meet again. Just a reminder, Tuesday, February 28th, upon noon recess at Capitol Extension Room E05 to discuss interim topics. And we will also meet that same day, Tuesday, upon adjournment for a confirmation hearing of a government appointee.
Further announcements. Once again, another great week, Senate. Thank you guys for everything. Majority Floor Leader Hicks, thank you for your shepherding us through. We're home early again on a Friday. Everybody drive safe. You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. We are adjourned until February 27th, Monday at 10 a.m.